good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, and welcome to another episode of the F1 podcast. Today, we've got a new guest, but before we get into the new co-host, co-present pundit, whatever, I'm probably going to call you both pundits soon. Going forward, we were going to have another person, but unfortunately, she is unable to make it today due to technical difficulties. But hopefully, she will be here next week to go through and start the build-up for the 2021 season. Before we get into all of that, don't forget down below in the description is the link to all of our social media pages. Go give us a follow. We've got some exciting news coming up with the NFL podcast coming up for you guys. We've got this Thursday for you guys. We're going to be announcing a massive guest coming on next week. Don't forget as well that we are doing we did a live stream about Reading FC for the very first time, which you can see on our channel now. Only can watch it on YouTube. You can't listen to it, unfortunately. But we might be doing some more live streams. We quite enjoyed the interaction we had with a lot of people. That's one of the most viewed Reading podcasts we've done in the past few months. So we might do some more. We might bring this F1 content into the live stream as well. And might get your guys' opinion live when we do things. We might do that. We might even do a watch along with us on the live stream where we will maybe have one of the worst Grand Prix like Abu Dhabi again, or another ones we've got on our list here that we will probably do a live stream with. The most exciting ones we might do as well. But that's all to come in the future. We're going to come and start building up where we want to go and what we want to do in the future with you guys as well. So we've got a lot to do. So in today's episode of the F1 podcast, we are doing our 2020 awards. We have 10 categories that we're going to do. We're going to go through each person in each category, why we think they should win. And then I'm going to ask each Josh and Connor to pick the winner who they think it should be. If they both don't choose, I will get the deciding vote because it's my podcast. And I run everything around it because I am the fucking god.
I am Jesus.
Do you know what? It's one of those things where I say stuff like this, and then no wonder I get voted to do like the forfeit videos. No wonder. It wants me just to suffer.
Humble yourself, Mark.
Yeah, I do it on the wrestling podcast as well, where unfortunately, if you guys are watching this, we are not doing a wrestling podcast this week. Sadly, Brody Lee, former Luke Harper, passed away on Christmas Day. He impacted a lot of people's lives in the wrestling industry. He certainly impacted mine when he was with the Wyatt family, and after that, very much an underrated wrestler. He had a wife and kids, and it's hit me and my co-host quite hard with that passing. So we felt that doing an award show and trying to do that would not be the right thing to do. So what we've decided is that we will not be doing a wrestling podcast this week, but we will be going on and doing our 2021 start of our prediction series next week. So that's the reason why there is no wrestling. Not that some of you cared, but I just wanted to let you guys know. Right, let's get into it. The first category. I haven't even done it properly. Ladies and gentlemen, if you are listening at home, please welcome the new pundit. Fuck it, I'm calling you both pundits now. The new pundit to the Robbos Gobcast sports show. Connor, how are you, young man?
Yeah. Good, you?
We're doing a round of applause now for people.
Thank you.
It sounds like
I'm good, you?
No, I'm very well. It's nice to have you on board. Connor reached out to us and said that he would like to be a part of this beautiful Gobcast, which I said no, but Josh was like, "Oh, I really like him. Bring him on." I was like, "All right, whatever." No, I'm joking. Connor asked whether he wanted to come on. I said, "Absolutely. He wants to come on and be a part of it." And for me, I'm happy whoever wants to do it. So, right, first category we've got today: most improved driver. We've got 4 people in this category, as Keith Lemon likes to say on celebrity categories. We've got Lando Norris, Lance Stroll, Carlos Sainz, and Alex Albon. let's go through them. Josh, why do you think Lando Norris should win?
He's gained his consistency this year, and he's been on the pace since he got to F1. I think he just lacked that bit of consistency in his first rookie season, which is fair enough. You don't expect rookies to always come in straight away, beat their teammates and stuff like Lewis did back in 2007. Like, you can't always have that. Mm-hmm. So this season's going to be a good year to build on his skills and gain that consistency. And you think he got 2 fastest laps in the end of the season, so proves he's got the pace.
Connor, go to you. Why do you think Lance Stroll should win the most improved driver?
I think he's had an all right season. He's finished in decent places, like on the grid when he's finished in. Well, his qualifying's been okay, and then where he's finished in the races is better than his qualifying. So I think that shows that even if he's got a bad qualifying start, then he can pull it back to like during the race to get a better finishing position.
So Carlos Sainz is on.
I think.
Yeah.
Go on.
No. So for me, Carlos Sainz is on there. For me, I think the reason why I think Carlos Sainz should be on this list is because of when he got that Ferrari deal. We all thought, does he really deserve that? Yeah, is he really going to be the one to, if we're looking at the whole grid of anyone, who's the one who's going to be able to challenge Leclerc next year, or even maybe not challenge him, but maybe actually boost Ferrari's hopes next season? I think, well, that's definitely what went through my mind. And when I saw Sainz this year, I went, yeah, I do really think that he is someone that can do that. And the way that I think especially we've got the category down with best duo who we're going to go with, but him and Norris really have helped push McLaren up that leaderboard, as well as the others as well. Alex Albon is the last person in that category. This is going to be a free-for-all for everyone, so we all can sort of say that whoever wants to talk about Albon. Unfortunately, won't be here in 2021, but will he be able to pick up an award before he leaves? Not that he gives a shit about awards, but will he be able to pick up our prestigious award before he leaves F1?
The first ever, the inaugural award.
Yes.
No. It's pretty simply no.
He improved throughout the season.
He got better, but he just... Well, actually, no, if you think about it, he just kind of was... I think he had a rough middle patch of the season, because he kind of started off all right until Lewis kind of took him out in Austria. Well, I think he probably would have won in Austria if Lewis didn't, take him out. And then
I don't think it helps that his car is a bit dodgy, does it?
Yeah, a bit more catered to Max, shall we say?
Exactly, yeah.
But I think in my mind, I think he'll be back for 2022, which I think he deserves. But if he's just going to, it's how much pace will he have if he takes a year on the sidelines. Like we saw Ocon, he was really fast until he took his year out. He's come back and been fairly beaten convincingly by his teammate.
Mm-hmm. Okay, then. So let's all pick a winner. Who do you... Right, Connor, I'm going to go to you first. Who do you think should win most improved driver?
Lando Norris.
Josh, I'm going to go to you.
Oh, I'm going to go Lance Stroll. I almost said his dad's name then. Lance Stroll.
Okay, so I am going to have the deciding vote on this. And the winner of the most improved driver 2020 is... Drum roll, please. Right, Josh, that just looks like you're trying to flap. I'm not going to lie. The winner is Lance Stroll. For me, someone who I thought shouldn't be in that seat compared to Perez. If you're going to get rid of one, personally, I think you should have got rid of Stroll. But he proved in the later on in that in the season that he can get podiums. He got pole. It all went Pete Tong for him during it, but he got it.
In Italy.
Exactly, and he did very, very well. So for me, we are given the most improved driver, Lance Stroll. Here we go. Next category, we're going for the biggest surprise of the season. We've got 3 names for this one. We've got Stroll, we've got Gasly, and we've got Norris going into this. Connor, I'm going to go to you first. Why do you think Stroll should win the award for the biggest surprise of the season?
I think it goes back to what you were saying again about the fact that he's been put with Perez, who's clearly a very good driver.
Not clearly,
and
he's all right.
he thought,
wow,
he's I think he sort of come out and sort of like proved himself that he can keep his seat for next season, and he can improve himself even more than he did this season to get a better position next season.
Perfect. Josh, I'm going to go to you. Why do you think Gasly should win?
Well, biggest surprise of the season. Who saw Pierre Gasly winning in Monza?
No.
The Alpha Tower winning its home Grand Prix in Monza for the second time in its existence as well. And the last time, well, it's because under the old Toro Rosso banner, Sebastian Vettel won in 2007, 2008, I think.
You're the one with the history.
And I just think the last time someone in the Red Bull Junior team won a Grand Prix, they went on to win 4 World Championships. So, never know, history could repeat itself.
Yeah, and I think going into the last one with Lando Norris, I think we all said the same thing with the most improved. We all knew that he could do it, and we all thought that he could grow into this massive, this great driver who, I think that before this, I thought he might be able to challenge for a world title in the future. But for me, he really proved that if he gets a good car underneath him, he is going to be a world champion. It's not going to be if he will, but it's about when. When are they going to give him the opportunity to become that champion? So for me, that's why I think Norris should get it. Right, here we go then. Let's find out who we think should win it. Josh, going to go to you first. Who do you think should win the biggest surprise of the season?
I'm going to go with Gasly for the win in Monza alone. I think that just deserves it.
Connor?
I'm going to go for Lance Stroll because, like I said in the first category, the way when he was doing his qualifying and he got like P13, P15, if you then look at where he finished in the race, he's got about 4 or 5 up. That doesn't seem a lot, but if you're in P15 and you're stuck behind 14 cars the whole race, if you then get them places, that's quite a big step, and you wouldn't want to lose them. Yeah,
I agree with both of you. So I get to now have the other. I quite like having this designer vote. Not gonna lie. So I agree with the Stroll. I agree with the Gasly. I completely agree with the Gasly. But Norris is someone who I am really considering because I like Norris and I want to give him an award. But I'm not. The winner I am going to go for is, I think I think he's had an award already, but I don't think he deserves another one for this one. So I am going for Gasly just because of that Monza win. To me, that was, I think if he had another lap left, I think Sainz would be on that list. But we talked about this on it as well. We're going to leave the next one till last. I think that's going to be the show of the shows where we're going to go. But the next one, the worst driver of the year, the award that nobody wants. Nobody wants that. This is no.
I just realised that it's going to make us look like we're going back on ourselves after the first question because of what it's
So this is nothing against the person. We still want you guys to come on this podcast and explain to us what happened, why your car wasn't there for you. We won't put it as worst driver. We will put it as worst component. You could blame it on anything on that one. Of the year. So the nominees. It feels weird to say worst driver and then nominees. It just feels wrong. It does. Nominees for the award is Latifi, Albon, Bottas. Josh, I'm going to go to you first.
Come to me first. I've got to look horrible whilst I explain why Latifi looked like the worst driver of the year.
Yeah.
Well, he's got out qualified at every opportunity other than when he had Jack Aitken in his first ever race in Bahrain on the grid. And even then, Aitken was only a couple of tenths off of him. So, I mean, one proves how quick on the pace Aitken was, and two, how Latifi, across every qualifying session, still couldn't beat Russell. The only driver not to score this season, other than Fittipaldi and Aitken, who came in late on into awful cars. But of any full-time driver, he's the only one not to score points. So sadly, he has to kind of be on the list, doesn't he?
He is the only driver apart from Aitken. Even Magnussen has got a point.
I was going to say, well, even if you look at it, Russell, I remember seeing this on his Instagram. He said he had 9 Q2 finishes in qualifying with the Williams. Latifi didn't make it out of Q1 once, I don't think. At certain tracks, the Williams has pace, and Latifi just isn't extracting it out of the car yet.
No.
But then again, he's a rookie, so he needs a bit of lenience.
Connor, I'm going to go to you for this one. Alex Albon. He was in the most improved driver, but he was only in there because I couldn't think of anyone else. But he was in that category. But what makes him the worst driver of the year?
To be honest with you, I think there's other people we could have put on this list.
Oh, there's quite a few.
Over Albon. I just don't think he's really stood up to the expectations this season. Like, obviously his teammate is a extremely good driver, but
he's all right.
If you're matched with, if you've got a good team behind you, you've got a good teammate, then I think that you shouldn't be like obviously world class, or you shouldn't be getting top 5 every single week, but I think you should be getting at least higher than what Albon was getting. And yeah, he did have some very good parts of the season, like he got promoted to Red Bull over Gasly and stuff, so that's good, but I just don't think he had the consistency.
No, I think I agree with you on that one. And that, for me, that was I don't think it's the worst driver, but the disappointment. We all knew that he was not going to be able to keep up with Max, because Max is just on another level at the moment. But you would have thought with the Red Bull, you would be top 5, top 4, top 5.
Yeah. Realistically, he's in top 4 because there's no Ferrari to compete.
Exactly. If there's no Ferrari, and Ferrari looked like a tractor after season until they actually decided to turn up, as Norris used to say.
Over in the first car.
Yeah. So that was going to be interesting. Bottas, for me, the reason why Bottas is on this list, he's also in another list which contradicts him being on this list, is the reason for me why I put him on this list is because of the amount of mistakes that he made in that Mercedes. And let's be honest, the Mercedes is built for both of them. There is not one car is not more improved than the other. They both have the same car. It's all about the drivers in it. And that's one of the respects I have for Mercedes a lot more than the majority of the others, a bit like McLaren as well, is they both build their cars for both people. They don't put one thing in one without putting the other thing in the other. So for me, that's why he's further down the list, is because of that. Sorry,
I'll just double check. Bottas spun 6 times in Turkey.
Jesus, just makes no sense whatsoever for him to be on there. Right, let's go. Worst driver of the year. Connor, I'm going to go to you first. Who should be voted worst driver of the year?
I'm going to go for Bottas for the pure fact that he's got probably the fastest car this season. He's got, obviously from the Constructors' Championship, he's got the best team behind him this season. And he just hasn't, I just don't think he's been there this season. And yeah, it could be to do with what happened at the start of the season through that massive massive break and stuff, and with all the COVID and stuff. But yeah, I just don't think he's really put himself in there this season to be a world champion.
Yeah, perfect. Josh, I know who you're going to go for. I don't know why I ask you.
I'm going to go with Albon.
Oh!
I'm going to go with Albon. I know I'm very harsh on Bottas, but it's because I really want him.
No, I didn't think you were going to go for Bottas. I thought you were going to go for Latifi because of the amount that you hate him.
No, I don't. I hate Stroll more, but I don't like Albon. But I just feel Albon, more than anything, just disappointed. Try doing the award show, and this is our host, everybody.
I need to get my drink.
But I think Albon just, more than anything, just disappointed me a bit and showed that he had the pace. He just couldn't string more than 7 laps together without being either having a mistake or just being slower than cars that are slower than his around him. Like in the Nürburgring, he went, oh yeah, the AlphaTauris are battling me too hard. A midfield car, which is the sister team, you're battling me too hard.
Yeah. Right, I've got the other. I quite like this having final decision shit. It's quite fun to have to.
He's had to
I know. So the person I am going for the worst driver of the year and the winner of the worst driver of the year is Valtteri Bottas. I think I really convinced myself during what I was saying by having the same car. Didn't perform. Albon was probably a close second. It was close first. Was very much up there with what you both were saying as well. And that's what I really struggled with. Right, let's go on to something a bit more happy. We're losing a few drivers. There's 4 that are leaving us. But we will discuss that in a minute. But let's talk about the best drivers coming in to Formula One next season. Who do we think is going to be the person that challenges or the person that's going to improve the most throughout the season? We've got Mazepin, or Marzipan as he is named on this podcast. We've got Schumacher, we've got Tsunoda, and we've got the veteran Alonso coming in. Right.
Nice young talent who's never been seen before doing the young driver test.
And then Alonso. Who wants to put a case forward for Mazepin? You're on your red, Connor, mate.
You're the new one on the block here, Connor. Lad, off you go.
Off you go, mate. You can go give it a go if you want to say why you think Mazepin is going to be a good driver. While you talk.
Well, I think he's obviously he's already built his reputation before he's come into F1, but I think that's nothing to do with how he can drive the car. I think that's just to do with what he's doing away from the team, away from the track. I think when he comes onto the track, he's not going to be as good as Norris or other people that have come in the first time, but I think he's going to get like a good 16, 15 or something like that towards the middle end of the season when he's had time to get used to the car, get used to the track and stuff.
And he's played bumper cars half the time. So Mick Schumacher Jr., I think everyone's got very high hopes, I think, for this one. I don't know whether it's high hopes or it's high hopes, but everyone's willing because of the second driver situation with Marzipan that's going on with Haas because of the situation. And you're right, Connor. I'm not going to take that away from you. His driving could be a difference in F1. He's going to piss people off, I think, because of how hard he's going to throw this car at people to make sure that he gets.
That's what we faced Magnussen with Magnussen, but a bit richer. Basically.
Yeah, with someone who can maybe build their car a bit better than what they've got before. So Mick Schumacher, you want to go for this one, Josh?
You can have it, mate. I'm going to go for Tsunoda.
All right, then. I'm going to have Mick Schumacher. So Schumacher, for me, I think I do want to see him do really well. I think it's more, he won the F2 last year. And for me, I think he's not using, it's helped him to a certain point, but he's not using his father. He's using his skill. And that's one of the things that I respect him more, is he doesn't rely on his last name or his first name or either name. He's not relying on that. He's relying on his skill in the car. And for me, he proved that last year. He also proved that in one of the practices as well. I think he was in I think in Abu Dhabi, I can't remember where he was. I think he was in one practice where he actually showed he has pace. And he is going to, and for me, I think he is going to be, I think the pressure might get to him at certain points because of the name and because of how much people are going to rely on him. I think there's going to be points where we're going to see him crack, but I think it all depends on his character, where he can come back from it and prove to people that he doesn't need that name. He is who he is for the sake of it. And I would love, in a fairy tale story in the future, for him to equal his father's record. I would love that. It would just be the, and in the Ferrari as well. I completely agree. Just so that it's one of those things where you go, oh, father son, they did it. So that's why I think, and I really do think Mick Schumacher will probably be. So we all know where it's going to go if you two pick two different people and it comes to me. We all know who's going to win now. Tsunoda. I know that you want to talk about him. You didn't want to talk about Marzipan, which was risk-free, fair play. But go for it. Why do you think Tsunoda is going to be?
I just think he's got a mix of a driver that we're all going to love when he starts coming when he's on the grid. He's fast. He loves an overtake. He's very on the pace, and he's not afraid to. I think he won't be afraid of Gasly being the number one driver, or whatever, at AlphaTauri, and I think Tsunoda will actually beat Gasly next season.
You actually think that?
A hot take, but I think Tsunoda will batter him.
Okay. Well, after the season that Gasly's had this year, you think Tsunoda's going to do better?
I really like Tsunoda. I've watched more clips of him since he got announced, and I'm very excited to see him come into F1.
Oh, right, okay.
I watched F2 anyway, but I'm very excited to watch him.
To be fair, I haven't watched F2 before, but I think I'm going to start watching F2 starting next
It's
season.
like F1, but more crashes because they're less experienced and a bit slower. Because it's basically a more accident-prone F1, but a bit slower.
So it's the Roman Grosjeans before the accident of the F2, who just, thank God that he's all right. Let's go on to Alonso. Who wants to take Alonso? We all know Alonso. We all know how good this guy can be from the past. But is he going to be able to do it in the Renault?
I think,
don't know.
Go on, Connor.
I think if he gives himself possibly 5 or 6 races to sort of get used to getting back in the car in a racing environment when you've got other people on the grid, then yes, he possibly could. But it then goes back to how many years he hasn't been driving in F1. So, and all of these new drivers that have come in like, so the ones that are coming in this season, you've got Lando Norris and like Albon and stuff, who's going into his third season, I think. You've got these new drivers, and I think Alonso is just, I think he'll be used to a different kind of racing to what is happening now. So I think if he gives himself, like I said, the 5 or 6 races to sort of get back into it, then yeah, he possibly could finish in a solid 9th or 8th in the championship. But I don't think he'll be up there with the likes of Leclerc, Hamilton, Verstappen.
Right, let's find out who we think the winner of who we think beforehand, the winner of the award of who's going to be the best driver coming in. This is an award. This is just basically a prediction, but we put it in because we're going to make an award out of it. Who we think is going to be. Josh, I'm going to go to you first.
I think it's fair to go, so I'm going to go Tsunoda.
Connor.
This is really controversial.
Oh, he's saying the name. He's saying the name.
I'm going to go for Mazepin.
Oh, no. Oh, no.
Well, thank you to the last ever episode of the F1 podcast. Hope you guys well. Bye.
We're being cancelled. Connor's first one that we're being cancelled.
No, literally, just for the pure fact, I think he's going to prove himself, and he's not gonna put right what he's done wrong, because obviously what he did when he did it all, and then he's just gone and deleted the apology and stuff. Like, you can't put that right. But I think he's going to make people have a different expectation of him after this season.
Well, we've just been cancelled.
At least you got a clip for Twitter now where there's just me and you. You just go,
Oh dear. Yeah. Okay. Then. So I get to pick the winner. As I said before, I would pick Schumacher, and I'm going to pick Schumacher. I do think you're right, Josh. Though I do think Tsunoda will do the challenge, and I think he will come in and probably. I think it's going to be between Tsunoda and Schumacher. I think Marzipan is going to do well. Let's bite the bullet and ignore what he.
Yeah.
We're not ignoring, but we're trying to concentrate on
beyond. Look at his driving ability.
Yeah, let's talk about his driving ability. We could completely condone. We do not absolutely like anything he's done on this podcast. We think we are trying to be more of a diverse podcast. We're trying to get more people in, and we're trying to do everything different. And we completely think that he's in the utter wrong. You don't do that. You're not brought up in that sort of way, so you should never do that. But there's not even a but in the car ability, I think he's going to turn some heads, and I think Connor's right in what he says.
Yeah.
He's going to do either one of two things. He's going to prove everyone wrong and say why he should be in that car, or he's going to fuck it up for himself, where he crashes into everyone, he pisses everyone off. He's going to get.
He'll either be dropped by mid-season, or he'll be on fire.
Yeah, he's not one of those drivers that's going to be in the middle. He's either going to have the extreme or the disappointment. So we'll say that. But Schumacher and Tsunoda will both get the award for this one. We're both going to say they both get it. So we're going to go with that. So talking of people coming in, let's talk about people going out. Unfortunately, we're going to lose 4 drivers. We've got Albon, Grosjean, Magnussen, and Kvyat that are leaving F1 in total. With Albon going to be the practice driver or the second in reserve for Red Bull. Grosjean is going to go and recover, which is fair play to him. Magnussen is going somewhere, and Kvyat has just gone. He's been replaced by another Russian. You're not allowed 2 Russians apparently in a seat.
I felt so bad for him. I watched back his at the end of the Abu Dhabi race. He didn't even get like a thank you for what you've done, because they hadn't announced it yet. And he came out onto Sky Sports and basically said, yes, Tsunoda's getting the drive, I'm not getting it. And he didn't even get a goodbye or anything. He's just basically just got
Just go off into the sunset.
Off you go, yeah.
See you later,
I
mate.
think Kvyat, we'll see Kvyat go somewhere else and be very successful.
I hope so. I hope you get to see these. So I think we all can agree that this isn't one that we should all discuss, each individual one. I think there has to be an outright winner here, and I'm going to overrule you all. And they don't know I'm doing this, but I'm going to overrule, and I'm going to say Grosjean is going to be the winner of this. If I'm going to be very honest, and I'm a very honest person with everyone, he wouldn't have won this if he didn't have that crash. But because he had that crash, he saved his life. He saved himself with the help with the doctor and everyone. And not only that, he then recovered and was able to turn up at Bahrain the second weekend and see everyone and say thank you and talk about it as well. And I think we all can agree on here as well that not only did he save his life, the car, that Halo saved his life. I think the Halo needs an award for life-saving something in this. But I really did think, and I said this on the podcast, and I'll say it again, I really did think I saw someone die when I watched it. I really thought I saw a death on my hands, and I don't know how I would have taken that if I saw that. But for him to find a way of getting out of that car, the way he did, and to move away from it, to me is a testament to his character, a testament to him as a person. No matter how we feel about how he's driven before, he's been a lot of ups and downs and lots of issues with the way that he's driven before. But as much as Albon's still going to be around, Magnussen will probably go off and do something with Kvyat. But I think we all can agree that Grosjean does deserve this.
I think
Magnussen was having an interview at the end of Abu Dhabi, and he said that he was going to. I think he said he was going to go into a different form of racing. I think it was, I don't know, IndyCar. I think it is.
IndyCar in America. Yeah.
I think he said he's going to go into that.
Yeah, I think that's where a lot of them go because it's sort of like the American equivalent of in terms of pay wise and And I think he did quite well in IndyCar. I think we could see him get a few.
Well, if he gets a good car under him, he can do quite well, I think.
Same with Kvyat, actually, wherever he ends up, Formula E or IndyCar or whatever.
So, let's go on to one of the awards that I'm looking forward to seeing the reaction to, especially Josh on this one. The worst track in Formula One, the award for the worst track we saw this year. There are 3 nominees for this one. Abu Dhabi, Russia, and Spain. We all know the hatred that Josh has for all 3 of them. He made that very well known in the last episode when we were talking. But Connor, I'm going to go to you first. Even though you went with Marzipan, are you going to go with who do you think what is the worst track for you?
I'm going to go Abu Dhabi.
He's taking the smart one this time, you see.
He's trying to make up for his fuckery that he did.
I think it's just the race this season. There was just nothing in it at all. Verstappen just absolutely, he just couldn't control the race. I think there was, right from the off, there was little chance that someone, if anyone, was going to get into that first position. And yeah, I just think it was an extremely boring race for what had been, like, the past few races had been quite eventful. And then we got to that, and it was just, it just went like, the season just went like up and like up, across, then went up again, and then just fell straight down at Abu Dhabi. So yeah, I just think it was an extremely boring race.
Josh, I'm going to go to you. What do you think should be the worst track and why?
I'm going to go with Russia. It's just, I think I said this to Connor before, it's the European version of Abu Dhabi. It's more built around architecture than it is being a good, solid racetrack. It's only there because that's where the Winter Olympics was held, in like the same venue. It pays a lot of money to be on the calendar, so it's going to be on the calendar. Same with Abu Dhabi, it's never going to move because they pay lots of money, and it just doesn't allow for overtaking. Without the science incident, that one, which was another just a slight mistake from him, one of few we've seen since he's been at McLaren. It was boring from start to finish. The only real excitement we saw was seeing the fact that Russell battled with Norris and Albon, like the three young British drivers who spent 6 months on Twitch together playing the F1 game, battling. That's all we had together. That's all we had this entire race to look at. And yeah, it's fairly boring. Just a very dull race.
Yeah, I think Spain, we all know how boring that can be. So that doesn't, I think they all don't really need. But I'm going to go with Abu Dhabi. I think it was the only Grand Prix where I think I fell asleep twice. I was like twice to see what was going on. So for me, the winner of the most prestigious award from the Robbos Gobcast Sports Show for the worst track in F1 goes to Abu Dhabi. And I really hope that next year there is a safety car every 5 minutes. Might make the race go a little bit faster.
I mean, we got a safety car.
Yeah, but it did fuck all with it. We just want something, just like an engine to collapse or every 2 rounds. I don't fucking want it.
If you played the F1 game on like where you go around turn 2 and you start to see cars flipping or something where they've spun and hit a wall. No.
We need to play that, by the way. If you've both got it, we need to play that. See how we do. Josh, I want to kick your ass. That's basically what I'm shit at it, but I want to give it a go. So let's go on from there. Let's go on to the best track in 2020. It doesn't have to be as in the greatest layout. It's what happened on the track, the entertainment we had, or it was the track itself. So we've gone for Bahrain Part 2. We've gone for Portugal, we've gone for Silverstone, and we've got Monza. Instead of going through each of them, we're going to do things a little bit differently, where I'm just going to ask you who you think should win. So, Josh, who should win the best track of 2020?
Portugal.
Why?
And I'm excited to see that. Probably going to be on the grid next year because
it hasn't been announced yet, has it?
Cars, no, but it looks fairly certain that it will be back in some sort of manner next year. And the cars can follow. There was good overtaking, like Kimi's lap 1 was immense. There's that still little bit of excitement with the possibility of an accident, because even though it's not a nice thing to hear, but sometimes crashes can make races a bit more interesting. And like we saw with that turn 1, and cars, unlike most tracks in the modern era of F1, because they're so big and downforce heavy, cars can actually follow quite nicely through Portimao. So if it comes back, I'll be very excited.
Oh no, go to you.
I'm stuck between Monza and Bahrain Part 2. I think Monza for the pure fact that Gasly won it. I think that's the reason why I think that could win the award. But I think I'm gonna have to go for Bahrain Part 2 for the pure fact of what happened, what events happened to Mercedes, and just the fact that it was one like Russell's, like he just came in, like he didn't even have that much notice, and he just came in, and like you said before, Mercedes make both of their cars exactly the same. And even though it's an absolutely rapid car, it's still the driver behind the wheel that makes the difference. And I think that the fact that Russell came in and he controlled most of the race until the pit crew put the on tyres, and then he got a puncture. And I think so. It's the fact that Russell had an absolute outstanding race, and then Mercedes just got done by their own pit crew.
Yeah, I think I agree with you. I'm in two minds whether it is between all four of them, really. I really enjoyed all of it. Silverstone with the tyre incidences. We've got Portugal with the overtaking, and it felt different. It felt and looked different, which was good to watch. Bahrain Part 2, I absolutely loved. Especially, was it at the bit when Perez's engine went and Albon? Was that part one?
Part one's where the engine.
Well, I would have enjoyed that.
Look at me over being biased towards Perez.
I'm only doing that because you're there, and because you love your good old Perez. And Monza, I think it was right when we had the top three was Gasly, Sainz, and Stroll. I think it was, wasn't it? The top three for Monza. To have that different components and people up there as well. So, but the winner for me has to go Bahrain Part 2, just because of how much fun that looked and the overtakes and the short races that it was. I really do think that was it. We've got 3 more awards to go. We're going to try and rapid fire through the next 2. Because I think it's going to be quite obvious the winners of the next 2 and 3, actually. I think it's going to be quite obvious. The best driver duo of the year, we're going to go for this one. The first one's Norris and Carlos, Hamilton, Bottas, Max and Albon, and Ocon and Ricciardo are the 4 nominees. Connor, I'm going to go to you first. Who should win the best driver duo of the year?
I think by a mile it's got to be Norris and Carlos. They've performed well on the track, but they've also built an extremely good relationship off the track. And I think that's key, because when you're working in a team, you've got to build that. You've got to put them foundations down to then how you would perform on the track and how you would perform with your team. And yeah, I just think the pure fact that they've just built a very good relationship on and off the track. I think they've just won it by I think they're the only real team that I would pick.
Josh, going to go to you. Who do you think should win?
Yeah, very simple. Carlos and Lando. Lando, what a pairing. Even now still interacting together on social media. However, I do quite like Max and Albon as a pair. But yeah, Lando, what a pairing. And I think at some point see those two back in the team together in F1.
Yeah, I think we probably will do at some point. Right. So the winner is Norris and Carlos. Is the first one that I haven't had to pick myself, which was quite nice, actually, because I was going to pick them two as well. So we all are in agreement of Norris and Carlos just by the entertainment value, and not only do they bring entertainment, they actually are excellent drivers as well in the cars that they were given. So that's great. Right, Mr. Consistency, most consistent driver. To me, I think there's only one winner in this, in my personal humble opinion, but we're going to see what you guys think. Mr. Consistency, is it Hamilton, Max Verstappen, Lando Norris, or Carlos Sainz? It's on the here. Josh, I'm going to go to you first. Who do you think should win Mr. Consistency?
Lewis. He just oozes class in everything he does, and he's always there. Even if the car's not the quickest, like we saw in Turkey, he still somehow comes through and just keeps that car on the track and wins. And he's just by far the best driver in F1 in the modern era.
Yeah. Connor?
Yeah, the same, Lewis. I don't think there's anyone that can really be as consistent as what he's been this season, with the way he's not it's not just the way he's finished in races, it's the way he's done the practicing, the qualifying. Yeah, I just think there's no one that can really top him, to be honest. And like Josh said, he's definitely the best driver that we've had for a good few years.
This was simple for me. And this is no disrespect to Max, who I think is Mr. Consistent, but not in the top order. He can never really hit the Mercedes. Norris and Sainz are Mr. Consistencies with the McLaren of where they need to be. But if we're talking about the greatest driver I've seen in a few years since Schumacher, it's definitely Hamilton. He has definitely done Mr. Consistent after only the first two races when he wasn't top, with Bottas being there, and then from after the first two he was top from there onwards. Just shows he was there. And then it goes nicely into the last award of the day, the best driver of the year. We've got Hamilton, Max. We were going to have someone else, but I changed it last minute. Sainz and Perez. Josh, who do you think should win the best driver of the year?
I'm picking. Of course, I'm picking Checo Perez because I think, even though he had basically the BTEC Mercedes car. Yeah, there you go, Mark. But I know Hamilton's been very good this year. However, Perez to finish fourth in the Drivers' Championship with 2 less races than everyone else, plus like engine failures and stuff out of his control, Abu Dhabi, Bahrain where he was on for third, having Corona for the 2 Silverstone races where the Racing Point showed its pace with Hulkenberg finishing P3 in qualifying. It proves that Perez in that Red Bull next year could be interesting.
Connor, I'm going to go to you.
I'm going to go the same as Josh. Yeah. He's gone. I just think that I agree with every single thing that Josh has said. I think just the way he's come, like he's had mistakes, and then the way, even like in the same race, he's recovered from them mistakes. Like the way he's just gone around them, I think that just makes him a great driver. And next season, like Josh said, will be very interesting on how he does in that Red Bull team.
So the winner, I don't know how, of Driver of the Year is Checo Perez. Personally, I thought it should have gone to Hamilton for the amount of wins, but the amount of podiums the man got compared to Perez. But I think if you're looking at someone that... Hold on, I haven't finished talking yet. Calm down. Hold on. Not throwing up his arsehole like you do. I'm just having a conversation. For me, but if you look at it as in a car that he had and where he got it, I think Perez should be up there. But I want to go through and say that on the F1 website and page, they asked 40,000 fans to vote for the driver they thought of the year. Hamilton won it with Max second. Perez was third. George Russell was fourth. Daniel Ricciardo was sixth. Joint sixth was Gasly, Sainz, and Norris. Leclerc was ninth, and Bottas was 10th. So it's going to be interesting. So the winner of the most prestigious award that we have on this podcast of the Driver of the Year goes to Sergio Perez, which means Josh got his own way of the year. So he is now the winner. But there's a couple of things I want to end this podcast on. Is it's good to hear that Frank William has come out of hospital and is recovering. Thank you for that, whoever's looking after him, and hopefully you get a speedy recovery. Hopefully we see you around the F1 track soon. Just seeing you at Silverstone or somewhere. I know you're not in the sport anymore, but just being around, and we all love Williams anyway. Everyone has a soft spot for Williams on there as well. And that's the end of the 2020 F1 podcast. starting next week, we will be starting to build to the 2021 season. We will go through the latest news that has happened over the past few weeks that we want to discuss. We will be discussing certain teams, certain things building up, and we will just be having an overview of what we think will happen on that. We will be leading to the testing that happens in February. We're around about then as well, and we will be talking where we think we're going to get in the next, hopefully, few months as well. We get to have a look at the new cars. I like having a little gander at them, see what they look like this year, going through that. And hopefully next week we will have another pundit on next week with these two lovely gentlemen. But if not, this is the lineup where it's going to be and what we're going to be doing for the 2021 season. And we will be doing all of the predictions that we've been doing before, but adding in Connor as well now to see where we're going. And during the next few months as well, we want to hear your input. What do you guys think the loser should do? And what do you guys think the winner should have? So we'll be interested to see what you guys think of where we go. It's also going to be very interesting about when we pick the first race, because the first race is always a mishmash of everything. So it could start of where we think of things to go, but we will have to see. But thank you both ever so much for joining us. Thank you, Josh, for coming on, you beautiful man. We will see Josh again on Friday for the Red NFC podcast with Ryan, where we will discuss the Swansea game that's coming up this week.
I won't be dressed like this.
No, we're just dressed up in the suit today because it's the award show. And we will be building up to the Huddersfield game coming up as well. But thank you guys. Thank you ever so much, Connor, as well, for coming on. We know you're a Reading fan and we know that you love a bit of F1. So he's going to be coming on and doing some of what he thinks as well. But we will see you guys next week. Bye.
Oh, yeah.